Our first question would be about the mentees. Who are these teens and young adults? They are millennials and Generation Z. According to Pew Research, millennials are people born between 1981 and 1996. Generation Z are people born between 1997 and 2009. And then there's Generation Alpha, born after 2010, 2010 and after. So my big question is, why are they Generation Alpha? Are they cyborgs? My guess, Village of the Damned. Probably not. Our mentees that we work with are people aged 13 to 28 years of age. There are times when we'll make exceptions outside of that. The bulk of our people are really between 15 and 25. 13 and 28 is the outer boundaries. There'll be once in a blue moon, you'll talk to the office and say, I have someone who wants to do it. They're 10 or 11, but they're so mature and they really need this help, and we can help them this way and that way. We have someone who's 30 and they have 2 kids, but they have this real issue that we could really help them with. So 13 to 28, but it's not cast in stone. I had to give you a name for that 13 to 28-year-old. These people live in cyberspace. I'm a huge fan of the Marx Brothers, Teradonian, so I came up with the Cyberdonian generations. In our day, that's a long time ago, when we went out into the neighborhood, we'd play tag, we'd play Red Rover, we'd play Kick the Can. These guys live in cyberspace, so when they go into the neighborhood to hang out with friends, even when they were young, it kind of looked like this. They're together, but they're on their instruments. What is the biggest fear of the Cyberdonian generation? It's FOMO, fear of missing out. I had this quote that I wrote down that one of my mentees gave me about this pressure, and she said these words: I want to go out, but I stay in and everyone is showing the good times they had on Snapchat. Or they peer pressure text me. If I say I'm staying in and they don't respect it, my social friends give me FOMO. Hurry up and do it, or you can do it later. And she was, before we started working, that FOMO was stopping her from being what she is now, which is a 3.8 out of 4, soon to be a physician's assistant, brilliant student, exceptional woman, exceptional leader, exceptional mentor for her her littles, and just a great person. And when she first started, she was paralyzed by this. What are the effects of living in cyberspace and living in Cyberdonia? First of all, time and day has no meaning. None. They could be dealing with someone at a different time zone. They could be doing things 6 in the morning. What day it is, they have no idea. Cyberspace purposefully doesn't have times or days. They're not watching Gilligan Island at 4 on Tuesdays. That lack of time and day habits breed bad sleep habits. Sleep-wake routine, and that's what I call it, sleep-wake routine, is the vital piece to helping our young adults control our world. Words have no meaning. If you can delete everything, then whatever you say is like, oh, I'm trying it. I think I'll be a Martian. Nah, I won't be a Martian. Delete. Now, you tell your parents you think you're going to be a Martian, they're going to freak. They're going to look for a psychiatrist. They're going to look for a therapist. I was just saying stuff. Words have no meaning. They have trouble interacting with people in person. They have trouble interacting with people on the phone. They have trouble interacting with people in email. And we're going to get into more of this later on, but it's a big problem. Their screens are their home. They live in cyberspace, and our world out there sucks. Living in cyberspace equals being out of body, which creates a non-corporeal existence. And guess what that makes? Anxiety. When do parents seek us? When do parents seek a mentor? This is a great question. Here's the answers. When their child is stuck in their lives. When they have issues with screens, or they have issues with gaming or with weed. When school's not working out, they're stuck in a dead-end job, when there's failure to launch. There are organizational challenges. There's mental health issues. There's family friction. and helping them to find a vocation they would love, not vacation, that's a different thing. That's their travel agent. And then finally, here's the scary part. 95% of these mentees that come to us have what I call non-working anxiety. Non-working anxiety? Well, there's working anxiety. When I go out to perform, when I go out to do these things, just share with you guys, when I go on stage as a singer or as a speaker or whatever, conductor, I get nervous, I get anxious. But then I take that anxiety and I build it up to a power to go out and do what I've got to do. That's working anxiety. They're stuck with the non-working anxiety because they never learned how to use it as a tool. You will. Who are the adults in their lives? These adults are born before 1981. We played kick the can. They went out and visited friends in the neighborhood. They talked to people. They lived on this earth. Earth being Terra, I chose to call these adults, these are Generation X and Boomers, born 1988 and earlier, wait for it, Teradonians. I like the picture. How do most Teradonians perceive Cyberdonians? They're self-entitled. They're self-involved. They're self-defeating. A lot of selves. Low self-esteem. They spend way too much time interacting through electronics and really, really self-entitled. Here's the cool part. With this course, how are you going to learn to see them? And this is how I see them. These are deeply caring, connected individuals. And they hold the keys to the next great innovations. And they're a little self-absorbed. So what are their issues these days? Anxiety, big time. Depression as well. Failure to launch. These are at epidemic proportions. ADD, attention deficit disorder. ODD, oppositional defiant disorder, meaning I'm not going to do what you say, mom or dad, is diagnosed in staggering proportions. So how do they get help presently? Teachers suggesting meds for ADD, ODD, anxiety, and depression. GPs prescribing meds for ADD, ODD, anxiety, and depression. Therapists doing talk therapy on ADD, ODD, anxiety, and depression. And psychiatrists giving therapy and meds for ADD, ODD, anxiety, and depression. And all the while, when these methods sometimes fail or don't keep working long term, the parents are overselling each new one more and more, saying, this one, Biff, this one's going to fix everything. So does it work? Yes. For 10% of Cyberdonians, these approaches work. But for most Cyberdonians, focusing on the problems make more problems. Here's your first Ken quote. We amplify the things we focus on. So when someone comes to you and says, yes, you have anxiety. We're going to look at that anxiety. We're going to figure out how to give you things for anxiety. You make more anxiety. So what do we need? We need an action-based system where the young adult is in charge. That's the secret of this whole mentoring system. With a mentor there to help guide them along their personal hero's journey. Joseph Campbell, love him. So let's talk about you. There are basically 4 kinds of mentors. I mentioned them at the very beginning, but let's go into it right now.